The RCMA palette is something that makeup artists have been using forever, and I have recently been building up my makeup artist kit, and I decided that I really needed to try this before I could honestly say that this was a good option for my makeup artist kit, because I have tried a lot of cream foundations, and honestly, some of them can be a little bit terrifying to work with. I can't even get this thing open. But this is a collaboration one where it has some of the adjusting pigments in them, because I knew that I needed those to be able to do well with this. So I'm going to scrape off just a little bit of, I'm thinking this, maybe mixing these two for my skin. But first, I'm gonna have to prep. All right, so I'm going to moisturize the crap out of my face because I am putting on a cream foundation. So I'm gonna start with this stuff. This is just a thick moisturizer. It happens to be pink in color. It's not my favorite one, so I'm not gonna really talk about it that much, but I'm just trying to use it up and not waste a product. As you can see, I've already done my eyeshadow. I haven't done any mascara at all, but I figure that can come in a minute. All right, already I'm feeling a lot better about the chances of this foundation. All right, next I'm gonna put on some hyaluronic acid. Honestly, I know my skin fairly well, and I know that I do have dry skin, and sometimes it is a little bit picky. So a lot of cream foundations, especially lately, my skin has been extra dry, so a lot of cream foundations kind of sit heavily on that. So I want to make sure that I've like hydrated to the max, and then if I need to, I'll powder afterwards. I doubt I'm gonna need to though. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, if you're a makeup artist, you can't just dip your fingers right into the product. So I'm just going to take this clean spatula and scrape off a little bit of this. Now it's a cream product, so you don't need very much. I'm gonna start with that, and if I need to go back in, I will. But I'm gonna just decant this on the back of my hand, because the other thing that I know about cream products is that they are thick. Now that I'm looking at that on the back of my hand, that looks just a touch light, or dark, not light, words are hard. So I'm gonna do the same thing with just a little bit of the white. And then I'm gonna mix these. The back of my hand is acting as like a heater so that, you know, it actually is blendable. So I've got that mixed, and I'm gonna come in with my beauty blender and start tapping that all over my face. So I think I'm gonna just do half for now so we can see how it looks in comparison. Actually, that's not looking bad at all. That's the thing, you guys saw how little I put on here? I think that's the biggest thing that I see with cream foundations is people try to use too much, and you really need so little. Like in reality, that little bit I dispensed is probably enough for my whole face. All right, I'm gonna get closer. It doesn't seem to be looking heavy in any parts, which I was a little bit worried about. This isn't bad. Like, it looks like I have nothing. I have so much product still left on the back of my hand. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Okay, I'm pleasantly surprised by how this is looking, because I don't know, sometimes with cream foundations, I feel like they can really be hit or miss. I know the Ben & Hyatt cream foundation, I have tried a couple of different times in a couple of different ways, and each time I felt like it didn't sit quite this good. But this one seems to be sitting a lot better. So I understand why makeup artists like it. Let's do this. Because I'm taking a look and playing with the RCMA palette, I'm feeling like I'm going to want to do bronzer with that palette as well. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to take this deeper shade, right? And I'm going to add a little bit of orange to it and make it more into a bronzy shade. I don't care if it necessarily mixes with the foundation shade that I have on. I just added a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, making that into a good shade for bronzing. Ooh, that's a lot. I may have added just a little bit too much red. That's a lot. I don't like my bronzer to be overly orange. We're just gonna add a tiny bit of blue into that. Honestly, I think it is essential that I'm using my hand to mix this, because if I were trying to do this without the heat, it wouldn't be nearly as effective. And trust me, I have played with the creams a lot. Not to say I'm an expert by any means, I'm really not. Take this, blend that out. The other thing is too, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it's been years since anybody actually looked at these palettes, and I actually got a recommendation from a friend of mine that like the RCMA palettes really are the best ones to use. But it's been such a long time, and honestly, I don't care what the brand has to say either. So it's been a long time since anyone except for the brand has said something about it. Okay, I am feeling like I definitely need a little bit of concealer. I've got a lot of product going on the back of my hands, so I'm gonna wipe that off and maybe make a concealer shade. All right, so I've got this here. This is what I'm gonna use for my concealer shade. And we're just gonna tap a little bit in to the places that I think I need it. We're gonna also use this to brighten. All right. How am I feeling about that? I feel like, honestly, it doesn't look heavy, but it does. There's something about it. I want to say it looks kind of patchy. And I'm talking all the products, not like the concealer. Maybe that's just me though. Okay, I think I need to finish up. I don't know. I'm gonna put the rest of my makeup on and then I'll be right back to talk about final thoughts. All right, so I finished up my makeup. This is the final. Actually, I should probably take out my clips before I say that. Okay, so my hair's still a little bit wet. It's still drying, but this is how it looks. Here are some thoughts on that. And so first of all, I want to say technically, this is a foundation / concealer palette. I ended up going in with a different color corrector and my Glossier stretch concealer because I just felt like it wasn't doing what I needed it to do as far as concealer is concerned. Now, that being said, my base looks pretty decent. I did go in with blush, but that's the only other thing that I added to my complexion is a little bit of blush. It is glowy. Now, to be fair, I 100% attribute that to my skin prep and not to the foundation itself, because had I gone in without doing that skin prep, I guarantee it wouldn't have looked the same. Overall, I have to say I'm not upset about this palette. I think that this was a good choice, especially for starting out and making it so that I don't necessarily have to buy, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 6, 12 foundations. And I can make a lot more with these mixing shades. So I mean, I'm not upset about that. I used literally the smallest amount scraped off the top of these, so I honestly think that I made a good choice. Just know that if you want it to actually be a flawless base, you're gonna have to do some serious skin prep to really get it there. It makes a huge difference.